buying classics. G'day to all you lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kathy and today I wanted to discuss what my experience has been in buying classics. And I have to preface this by saying that obviously it is going to be limited to different classics that you can buy in Australia. Though I do believe most, if not all of these editions are available overseas. And secondly, my taste in classics may not necessarily be yours. And when I talk about taste, I'm talking about the aesthetic look of the book. You know, the spines, the covers, etc. I have been buying quite a few classics recently, different editions, and I wanted to share what my experience has been with them. Which ones I've liked, which ones I haven't liked, and the reasons why. And obviously this is going to be all about new editions of classics, not second-hand ones. As for where I buy my classics, I generally buy from my local bookshops. There are two close by to me. One is QBD Bookshop, another is Robinson's. I also buy from Angus and Robinson's, and I also buy some online from Angus and Robinson, who have a really great website and actually have them much cheaper usually than the physical stores, as well as from Booktopia, which I don't think has a shop front, is simply an online bookshop. Occasionally I also buy from eBay or from Amazon. Ebooks is another well-known bookshop in Australia who has an online store. I do not recommend them. They have the worst customer service I have ever seen, and in addition their books are way overpriced. I also thought I would mention ebooks briefly. Whilst you can purchase classics in ebook format, I would recommend that you don't. I would recommend that you go and visit Gutenberg Press. Gutenberg Press has a huge collection of copyright-free ebooks which are free, which you can download for Kindle or any other device that you want to read ebooks on. They may not have everything, but they have a huge number of books. I will put Gutenberg's details in my description box below. Now I will say that I don't really like the look of the Gutenberg Press ebooks. I generally download new covers for them and I tweak them here and there because that's who I am. So you may not like how they look, but the text itself is very good. There isn't any issue with that. A second website where you can get some free classics is feedbook.com. I will put their details in my description box below. I like the look of theirs a bit better. They have nicer covers, but I always download new covers if I don't like the ones with the ebooks that I get anyway. And I use Calibre, which is an ebook manager which allows you to easily change the covers and even tweak the books if you want to. But I definitely recommend these two places for free books. Yeah, free classics if you want them in ebook format. So now I'm going to move on to my experience with the different editions of physical classics that I have bought. And I'm going to start with paperbacks. There are dozens of different editions that you can buy. There are colourful ones, there are dark ones, there are many different publishers around. And I'm not going to go into detail as to which ones you should buy. I'm going to limit myself to the ones that I have bought recently, which means that they are readily available. The most well-known, I think, is Penguin Classics. They have a huge catalogue of titles and they have several different editions. In paperback, they have the orange and white or cream ones, which I'll confess I can't stand them. I just don't like the look of them at all. Their modern classics seem to have different covers to older classics as well. I am generally drawn to their black classics the most. And I have two different editions. One is this. It's not fully black though the spine is. But the back is cream, and of course there is the border as well. Plus the covers are shiny, and the artwork is a little bit more detailed, I think, than some of the classics today. I really like this edition. I'm not sure though if it is still available. I have seen some, so perhaps you can get a few books in this edition, but I think it is a much older one. The paper quality is good, just your average, I think, for paperbacks. And recently I have bought a few which had such thin paper that I could actually see the text on the other side, which made it really hard to read. You don't have that issue with the penguins. And the print is a good size. They're not difficult to read at all. But definitely my favorite. Though I know I bought this several years ago in a set of Dickens. The newer black penguins look like this. Quite different, and they are fully black. The spines are black and the back is black. They're a little bit more matte. Their artwork doesn't seem to be as detailed, but they are very nice. I can't deny it. The spines, however, this white section does not line up on the bookshelf. Initially I thought, oh, I must be on an angle, that's why they don't line up. But no, that is just the way they are, which looks really strange to me. I don't like it. I mean, I don't hate it. It's not enough for me not to buy the books, but I just don't understand why they are at different heights. Now, it may not bother you, but for me, it's like, oh, I just want to move the books and make them line up. Perhaps that is just me, though. I mean, it's not a deal breaker, but it is annoying when I look at my shelves and I think, why? Why couldn't they have made them all at the same height? It would have just made the set look so much better on the bookshelves. Nevertheless, they are lovely books, for paperbacks, of course. And as for the price, these range, I think, between around $12 to $25 Australian. But their average is around 17 or 18. This next edition I found at my local bookshop, QBD. They had 3 for $15, which I thought was a steal. And this is an example. These are published by Wilco. They're fully black as well, including the spines, which I do like, and they're very easy to read, the spines, which is a big plus for me. I am not interested in having to pull out a book so I can see what it is. And seriously, $5. It cost me $5 for a coffee, so at least this will last. The paper quality is just as good as the penguins. The print is very easy to read, and I have read 2 of these. The first one, I do not recall seeing many errors, if any, in the text. But the last one I read, the letters RN, when they were together, were not printed RN. They were an M. And it took me a minute to realize that. And it occurred throughout the book. Now, it didn't bother me. I didn't have any issues reading the book, but I can see that it might bother some people. I guess you get what you pay for, right? But the translations, as far as I can tell, are fine. But other than that, I really like these. I like the photos or artwork they use, and I like the physical look of the books. And seriously, for $5, I think they're quite worth it. They don't, however, have a large catalogue of titles to choose from. This last edition I'm going to talk about are Wordsworth paperback classics. Though I haven't seen them readily available everywhere like Penguins are. Penguins you can get in almost every single bookshop. The Wordsworths I have only seen on Booktopia's website. That doesn't mean, however, that they're not available in other places. And this is an example. I really like these. These have become my favourite. I like the covers. The back looks really good. And I love the spines. And I noticed that is very similar to the older Penguin classics, which is probably why I like it. They look great on the shelf especially. The paper quality and the text is just as good as the Penguins if you ask me. And the price is even better. I have not paid more than $8 for one of these, and it's rare for them to go over $10. I've even been able to buy some for $5. So I'm really impressed with these because they are half the price of the Penguins, and yet they seem comparable. And from what I can tell, Wordsworth also has a very large catalogue of titles and some books that I haven't found in other editions, like this, Dangerous Liaisons. The artwork, whether it's photos or art, is usually a little bit reflective, but the rest of the book is matte. But it's the spines that have sold me. Seeing them on the bookshelf, they look fantastic together. I think they are just as reputable as Penguins are, and let's be honest, half the cost. If it came down to a choice between a Penguin Black or a Wordsworth, I would go for a Wordsworth, and not just because of the price, but because I like everything about them. Let's move on to hardcovers now. I think there's almost as many different editions in hardcovers as there are in paperbacks, though of course they cost a little bit more. I'll confess though that my preference is always to go for hardcovers if I can and if I like it. And I have found that there's just so much variety, different colours, different types, that it was hard to choose, say, one style and stick with that. I've had to buy different editions, and I've discovered what I've liked and what I haven't liked, aesthetically that is. Now there are two editions I wanted to discuss which I don't own but seem to be popular and available. One is the Pan Macmillan Mint Classics. I'll show you a photo of what they look like. I don't deny, on the shelf they look really nice, but that doesn't appeal to me. The aesthetic of them doesn't appeal to me. From what I've read though, they are very nice editions, very reasonably priced. I think they sell from $15 upwards, and they have a very large catalogue of titles, which is always nice when you're looking for hardcovers. But I think their spines have gold writing on them, which will make them hard to read, and that's another reason I decided this one wasn't for me. The second edition, which I don't own but was very close to buying, are the Chartwell Classics. I'll show you an example. I love the covers on these. I think they are so beautiful. But I was reluctant to buy it without seeing it in person, which I did. And yes, they are just as beautiful in person. However, they are more a square shaped, not rectangular. So they really stick out on a shelf, which I know will bother me no end. It is not something that appeals to me. They don't all have to be the exact same size, but I just don't like them sticking out so far. If they made them rectangular, I'd buy them like a shot. They cost around the $20 mark, and they really are lovely, nice paper, etc. But the shape doesn't appeal to me. It may appeal to you though. Next, I have to mention some of the high-end classics, which are universally acclaimed as some of the best classics that you can buy today, that are printed today. We are not talking about second-hand here. The most well-known and most respected, I think, is Eastern Press, which I believe is an American company. They make leather-bound classics, which I think are also hand-stitched, and they are drawer-worthy. I just go on their website sometimes and just dream about winning the lotto and being able to buy all of them because they are stunning. Absolutely. These are my favorites. I can't deny it, but they also correspondingly cost a lot more. I think most start at around $150 and can go up to $400 for one book. And that is well above my budget. Now I may buy one, say my favorite book ever, but I can't see myself being able to collect as many as I would like. The other issue is that they are based in America and they don't ship to Australia. Though I have seen online that some Australians have been able to buy some books from Eastern Press. I just don't think the process was very straightforward, which is such a shame, or maybe not a bad thing either, because I will definitely blow my budget if they have them readily available here. But as I am intending to buy at least one at some point in the future, I'll share my experience with you guys. And if any of you in Australia have bought from them, please do share for others as well. Undoubtedly, these are my favourites. Yeah, like I said, if I win Taslotta, I'm buying the lot. Anyway, the second high-end publisher is Juniper Books. They also do dust jackets, like say for series. I've seen the ones that they do for The Wheel of Time, Harry Potter, where there is a piece of art that goes right across all the books. Personally, that doesn't appeal to me, and I think the dust jackets are way overpriced. However, they also have some classics. Again, they don't appeal to me as much as the Eastern because they're a little bit more colourful and more modern looking. And it seems I'm more drawn to the traditional looking classics. They also have some that are cloth bound, but in my opinion, Juniper Books are overpriced. Juniper Books, however, I do believe ship to Australia. The third high-end publisher I wanted to talk about is Folio Society. They're an English company and they also sell to Australia. They have lovely books, really nice. Not a huge collection though, but some lovely, beautiful books. However, also more modern looking. Their prices, I think, can vary. They may start from, say, around the $80 mark and upwards. Very nice, just not really my aesthetic, though some are stunning, I can't deny it. As for the hardcover editions that I own, let's start with this. I know, it is so small. It looks more like a pocketbook, but, and I don't know if you can see just how cute it is really lovely. It has gold, a ribbon, and it is just stunning. Now, I bought these online and I did not check the dimensions, did I? Because if I had known, I would not have bought them. Not because they aren't beautiful, but it's just too small. They are tiny. And to give you an idea of the size, this is a paperback. That's how much shorter it is. It's tiny, as you can see. And if that's not bad enough, the text is so small, I can't read it. Now, I don't have the best eyesight anyway, but seriously, I need a magnifying glass if I want to read these. And no, not interested. That's what it looks like. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but take my word for it, they are really small. These are called Flame Tree Classics, by the way, collectibles, I think. And I think they cost around the $20 mark, sometimes a bit less or a little bit more. So no matter how beautiful they are, and I do think these are, they are just going to be decoration, certainly not for reading. The next classic I wanted to talk about is this. These are Wordsworth cloth-bound classics, which have a little bit of gilt on them. The covers are a little bit more simplistic, which I actually really like. I kind of find them very elegant, actually. Sometimes simple is best. But I really like these. I like the look of them. They're a good size. They don't have any gilt or anything. And the paper quality is very nice. They don't have a huge catalogue of titles, but if they bring out any that I want, I will buy more. The cost is great too. These only cost around $15, which I think is a bargain for a hardcover, right? Maybe not to everyone's taste, but these appeal to me. One of the few colourful ones that I do like. The next one I wanted to talk about are the Penguin cloth-bound classics. Now these are generally double the price of the Wordsworth I think they're around 28 upwards, and they can be quite expensive. The paper quality is excellent. I'd say a little bit better than the Wordsworth ones. And the print is really easy to read. I've actually read this one. They also have a ribbon. This is not the nicest cover. They have some really lovely ones, and they have a huge catalogue of titles. But, and this is a big but, I have only read this book once, and just by handling it, just by reading it, the cover has smudged, not just on the back, and I'll give you close-ups of this, but also on the spine. It has almost worn out the title. So I am very, very unimpressed. I've had this book only a few months and read it once. And I take very good care of my books. I do not read them or touch them if my hands are dirty. This has smudged just from the oil on my fingers. And frankly, I'm not going to wear gloves to read a book. This should not have happened after one reading, not for $28. I don't care how well they're made, this is a deal breaker for me. I do not want my books to look so worn after such a short time, not from one reading. And I'm not alone in this experience. This was not a one-off. I've seen many people online have the same experience. So I cannot recommend the Penguin cloth-bound classics. Not if that's going to happen after one reading. I'm sorry, $28 for this? No. Which is sad because they have so many titles that I'd like to get, but no. I actually have two others. One I've had for a while, I haven't read that, and I just bought a new one before this had happened. And that's going to be my last. I'm not buying any more of these. The next edition are called Chiltern Classics, which have become one of my absolute favourites. I adore these. They're slightly smaller than a paperback, but not by much. And they have these amazing rounded edges, which I just love, as well as the gold and a ribbon. And these covers are just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I am madly in love with these, and I keep buying them when I find a title that I want. Even if I already own the book, I've got, I think, 10 or 12 at the moment, and I don't mind buying more. They're also quite heavy, very well made as far as I'm concerned. They also have lovely spines as well, so they look really nice on the bookcase. But the covers have a bit of embossing on them, just lovely. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of is the paper. Not that it isn't thick, because it is, but it's a little reflective. I'm not sure if the camera will pick that up. I'll try my best. I have never been a fan of shiny paper when it comes to books, though it isn't so shiny that I can't read it, because I have read a couple of these. Just not my preference, I guess. But the paper is thick. The print is really easy to read. It is not too small. And honestly, even if you didn't want to read them, they're just worth having on your shelf because they're so beautiful. They don't have a huge catalogue of titles, but they have a lot of well-beloved classics. Now, I have seen these online for $30, $40, which I was really surprised at, because I initially saw them at QBD Bookshop, usually 2 for $30, so $15 each, and look at it, it's gorgeous. So I highly recommend them. I don't know if you can buy them from every bookshop, but you can also buy these online. I bought them from QBD's website, which is one of the worst ones I have seen, as well as in the shop itself. Another edition I found at my local bookshop are these. These are called Flame Tree Classics as well. They're usually collections of different classic authors or something like this, Greek myths and tales. And I just love the covers, they're beautiful. That's the back. And that's the spine. They're all different colors as well. And usually they cost anywhere between $10 and $20 at the bookshop. Online, I've seen these for ridiculous prices. So don't buy them online. Go to your local bookshop. You may be able to find them much cheaper. The paper quality is okay. It is average, nothing special. The print size is great. I haven't read many of these, but I haven't noticed a lot of errors either in the text. And they're just beautiful. I really think so anyway, especially for the price, I think. Something to keep in mind though, because I fell for this, I didn't realize, whilst they have collections of an author's works, it won't be the complete collection. I don't think I've seen any that are complete. But they have things like myths, Chinese myths, Nordic, etc., horror stories, ghost stories, gothic stories, Edgar Allan Poe, I think even Sherlock Holmes. They have quite a few different titles which might appeal to you. The next two I wanted to talk about are Barnes & Noble's books. This is a leather flexi-bound. However, be aware these are not full leather, they are bonded leather, which is like a composition of different materials. And from the research I've done, bonded leather can crack, though I don't know if it does with the books. Initially, when I bought this, I didn't like this flexi quality to the cover, but I've become a real fan of them. They're also not very heavy, and on the bookshelf, they look like a hardcover anyway. You'd have to take it out to realise that. And whilst they're not fully leather, they definitely smell like leather, which I like. They also have a ribbon and the edges are dyed. I don't know what they call that. I'm sure there's a term for it. And these are beautiful. Not the cheapest either. These are, I think, $28 upwards. And they don't have a huge selection of titles, though they have a few. I own 3. And I find these really good quality. Nice paper, nice print, and beautiful covers, no doubts. Highly recommend these. This is a Barnes & Noble leather-bound classic. Most of these I think are collections, either complete collections or a collection of books by an author or two. This is the Jane Austen one, which is, as you can see, pink. Not my favorite color. They are beautiful, no doubt, with the gold, lovely backs and spines. Very heavy. And these are also bonded leather. On average, these cost up to $40. The paper quality is good. The print is very easy to read. They're lovely books. When I first saw them a few months ago, I felt madly in love with them. I thought they were stunning. I don't love them as much now, surprisingly. I have several on my shelf, and I think the reason I don't like them, it's not because they're not beautiful. They are. They're just a little too colourful. Strange, isn't it? When I bought them, I liked that they were colourful, but now I find they're a little too garish, which is probably being harsh, but a little too in my face. I've discovered that I prefer classics to look more traditional, more subtle, more somber colours than these very bright ones. They just look a little too modern for my taste. But that is not to say these aren't beautiful. That is not to say that these aren't worth having. They are. Just not my taste anymore. If I call this Austen, I just realised this is the Louisa May Alcott one. These also seem to be readily available both online and in bookstores, so I don't think you'll have much trouble getting them. They have quite a few titles of different collections and usually complete collections, which is my preference. This last edition I'm going to show you has become my absolute favourite. I love it. It's strange. I saw them originally and I thought, no, I'll go for the leather ones by Barnes & Nobles. But when I got the first one, I loved it so much. And then I bought a few more. And this one is my favourite. This one is Grimm's Fairy Tales, and these are called Knickerbocker Classics or Timeless Classics. They don't have the gold, but they do have a ribbon. That's what they look like. But it's the spine I love the most. They look fantastic on the shelves. The paper quality is really nice. This one also has coloured artwork or colour plates, and the text is a nice size as well. They also have a little bit of gilt lettering as well on the covers. And they're gorgeous. They look so good on the shelf that I want more. But unfortunately, they don't have a huge catalogue. Hopefully they'll bring out some more. As for how much they cost, they're between, I think, 25 and 40. I just bought the Shakespeare one, which was 40, and I got it for 25, so they do come down in price. I just wish they had more titles because I would definitely buy them. I have, I think, 4 now. I might even buy more, I don't know. But I love this edition. I love the look of the covers, and I love the spines, and I love how they look on my shelves. And I've also loved reading them as well. So that is all the different editions of classics that I've been buying in the last 6 months or so, and what my experience has been with them. I hope you found some of the information I shared in this video useful. Now I'd like to hear your experience buying classics. Are you like me and struggling to decide which edition you should buy over another? Because it can be hard to know sometimes. There are some beautiful editions out there. Out of all the editions I've bought, the only one I'm extremely dissatisfied with is the penguin cloth bound one. But the rest are really beautiful. I think so anyway. And I'm just loving the way my classics bookshelf is looking right now. I'll give you a glimpse of it. Well, thank you all very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then you can do the usual. You can like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, as it helps my channel to grow. I hope you all have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye! What else did I want to say? There was something else, and I can't remember what it was. And I don't particularly